Are you gonna run too?
Welcome back to March or Die. I am the
Stress Master, and
you
I
are
am
the
Tumor.
tumor.
And why am I the
Right.
tumor?
Because you marched spot B9, dude, and you got to march
Exactly.
next. You got to march next to B10, which was me. So
Well, I think
that
actually you'll
caused-
find that B10 got to march next to B9. Really,
Well, there's always that, but it's okay. It's all right.
it's our magnetic personalities.
It is. It is.
We were joined at the hip back then, and we're still joined at the hip now. So
That's true.
so as we said in the first episode, there's some slight continuity stuff going on here because we're actually recording this on Super Bowl Sunday. We started recording everything on Saturday, and we're now in part two because JW Koester had a lot to say, and I mean a lot to say, and we were kind of up against it because on the part one because he had to go to a percussion competition, but then he says to us, "Hey, can we come back on and do some more tomorrow?" And we're like, "All right." So enjoy part two.
Enjoy part two. So in this part, we're gonna talk a little bit more about the Mandarins and their success and all that. We're also gonna watch their show, their 2023 show. 23 show. Oh my god,
23 show.
23 show. Talk about what's going on throughout the show. So really great episode. So please stay tuned for that. And we're gonna get started with that right now.
Cannot wait. So welcome back. This is part two of the interview with JW Koester. You may note that some fancy duds have come on today. That's because it is Super Bowl Sunday. So thank you for coming back, JW. Basically, we were chatting at the end of the day yesterday, and he's like, "I've got more to say," and we're like, "All right, so that's cool." So I will start off with a question. How did you guys get so damn good in a year? You went from fighting for 12th to fighting for a medal in a year. I'm guessing it didn't happen overnight.
Oh boy.
But
Well, no, it didn't.
So before you came on, me and Justin were talking, and one of the things that we both said that we both noticed about the 2023 Mandarins that perhaps the 2022 Mandarins did not exhibit as much of was there seemed to be a swagger, like a quiet confidence amongst the group when you just look at them on the field, before and after the performance. So yeah, how'd you get so damn good in a year?
It wasn't a year. I mean, it's been taking a couple of years of building that, of continuing to build a culture and to get as we talked yesterday, to get the right people in front of the drum corps, teaching with the same values that I wanted to see, that the organization expects, and the pieces came together. They really did. The design team was in sync, and the caption heads were all dialed in with what they wanted and needed to do, and we work on that with the drum corps. It's not an attitude per se, but it is a confidence, and you have to build that confidence in them. And we've been doing that the last couple of years. And so I really think that this last year, 2023, was, we hit a new level of, members coming in being confident, where they were returning members or the new members walking into a strong, positive environment, knowing exactly what was expected of them. And then we reinforce that throughout, the winter season, the springtime, and, spring training on to tour. And this particular group really gravitated. They grasped it. They embraced it, if you will. And the results, I do believe when all those things on the backside happen and happen positively, the results show on the field, and it gelled. It really did. And so, did we design it that way? No, we didn't. But is it partially a cultural thing that we want to see and be doing every year? Yes, it is. Absolutely. So, yeah, it wasn't just by magic snapping our fingers. It happened in June,
Hmm.
June 23rd. It's been evolving, and this was, I guess, the culmination of that phase of it.
Right. So, looking at your last several shows, Life Right After, Subterra, Beyond the Canvas, The Other Side, those were all very, very, I think you'd agree, pretty dark subject material. I wouldn't suggest that Sinnerman is probably happy-go-lucky material either, but it is quite a departure from those previous shows as well. So, could you just talk me through a little bit of the design process behind Sinnerman?
Oh boy. The idea actually it came from Becca Anderson, our creative director. She's the one looking out as to what we've been doing and what do we want to do. But the idea was hers. The actual some of that music actually came from it's an older piece back from the 50s, and it was actually in, oh my gosh, a movie with Pierce Brosnan that was in a few years ago. And it was actually one of her favorite pieces of music from that movie, but the music really moved her. And she saw lots of things with it, so she brought that to the design team. Now, when I say that, I mean anybody in the design team can, pitch ideas. It's not that it's a Becca or nothing. No, the rest of the design team absolutely has ideas that they also bring, but as part of her responsibility, it is to bring something to the table. When she brought that music to the table, everybody just said, "Oh my gosh, boom, this is it. This is great."
Yeah.
And then with that, Becca goes back and starts putting together her thoughts on, okay, what could a show, what would a storyline be? What would it look like? And she is more visually oriented. So she's going out looking at colors and textures and, pictures that move her that could be associated with that story, if you will. So she kind of starts that storyline up front before we even choose all the rest of the music. But that way it allows the design team to start also pitching their ideas and their thoughts as to where it could go. And of course, then bringing more pieces of music in to build it. So it is very collaborative, but I will say that Becca does the initial lead of, okay, here's where we're going. And then we get together and have a design summit and say, okay, is this the right material? Is this where we want to go? So there's some visual ideas to it. The rest of the team brings other musical ideas in that would be, if you will, complementary to that. And then we go, okay, yes, this is it. And then the detailed design really starts to dig in, and we really start to flesh out more the storyline and what the movements could be and what the textures are going to be for each one of those movements. How do we want to finish it up? What are the props? All those sorts of things. But I will say it does start with Becca.
Yeah.
And even though it's dark, you're right. The subject matter, even going back into 18, not necessarily the most exciting or the lightest of subject matter. I like that word.
Come on, Subterra was literally a show about hell. I mean, come on.
But yet, I think the way we present it, it's not dark and morbid. It's not gothic.
No.
It's I got her down, that kind of thing. It still has a lightness to it. It has a. I like to think there's still a bit of positivity in there.
When I heard Sinnerman, I was just over the moon about it because I mean, I absolutely adore Nina Simone. I mean, she was just art. She wasn't a singer; she was just art. And
Yes.
the thing is the easy thing to do would have been just do Sinnerman because the song's 10 minutes long anyway. But then you threw in stuff like Smile, and you threw in Smile with a minor key at the end of it as well, which I thought was super cool. And I'm thinking of that, and so I'm thinking Sinnerman, and then I'm hearing Smile. It goes into the minor key at the end. I'm starting to think of things like the Joker movie and stuff like that. And then okay, how does this relate to this? And I'm thinking, okay, well, it's kind of madness. It's trying to kind of trying to find, fight your inner demons and all that stuff. So the thing I thought was so cool about the show is you can, and we'll watch the show in a bit here, but is that you could 10 people could watch that show and 10 people could interpret it completely differently.
Yeah.
You hit it right there. And we're not telling you what to believe. We're not telling you, was the sinner man, was that person good or bad? Were they evil? Were they the right side? We're not saying that. We're telling a story, but we want the audience, we want those people to make up their own mind. And that's we've tried to be, if you will, open-minded the last few years. So yeah, we're delving into some dark things, but at the end of the day, who isn't a sinner? Does it make you a bad person?
Yeah.
And we don't want to. We avoid that. We avoided, and we try to avoid making a final decision or telling you what it is. We want the audience to walk away going, well, what did you think? Well, what did you think? And I think that's what was attractive. And bringing all those other pieces of music in, if we would have just kept with Sinner Man, I think our story would have been so much more one-dimensional. Bringing the other pieces of music in, it creates multiple opportunities and venues for people to think about it, right? Smile. Well, wait a second, but he's a sinner. But is he a bad person?
And it wasn't exactly a happy version of Smile either.
Well, because you have to have that conflict. And with Vince shifting it into that, that minor structure, it left doubt. It left you wondering, well, oh, wow. Well, even being happy, are you sad? Or are you, but we didn't tell you what you had to think. And I think that's what we really like doing that with the storytelling that we're doing. We're not telling you the final outcome. That's for you to decide as you walk away. And, what you think versus what Justin thinks, could be very different. Justin's going, yeah, he was a good person. Okay. Ventured outside of the norm. And you might think he was the devil incarnate. Neither one's wrong.
Yeah,
Neither story's wrong.
Yeah, I think your guys' shows, it started even in 21, because I was at semis and finals in 22, and I got to see it live. Everything is different live. The video is great too, but you get more of the emote from the group to you, and you exchange energy in a live setting as opposed. Videos are great, but it's nothing compared to live. We all know that. Right. But I think what 21, 22, and 23 did is you guys were exploring different things. And I never took Sinner Man as like a negative thing or a positive thing. It was more like you're exploring the inner self, like the conflict. Even in 22, the other side was really about kind of like that exploration of good and bad and what's on the other side compared to what's previous. Should I go? Should I stay? Right. Kind of a thing. And the cages in 23, oh my God, everybody loved those cages. And it's like a cage soul, right? I mean, that's kind of the way I took it.
So we asked Jason Burns about the park benches. And he said that he didn't care if he ever saw another park bench again. Where are the cages now?
So we sold 4 of them to a high school program. So this coming fall, some of them are going to be out there. We still own 3 of them. I'm hoping that somebody or some buddies are going to say, hey, either I want to put one in our show or they want to put one in a backyard. I don't know. Unfortunately, they're a little bit big to put into the bingo hall. And if we let any of those little old ladies or old men spin in it, we'd probably, that would not be good. That would be morbid, so we can't do that. But part of the challenge in getting them sold off, though, right? We released that show so late for a lot of band programs for that, this last fall. It was 2 behinds, in terms of, they've already got their show design already done. So, yeah, we do. I'm not going to lie. We still have 3 of them. So I don't know if I'd want to ship one to England for you, but
it's funny. I've just had a look and I really don't have the space for it. So I'm going to politely pass on that one.
But if anybody else wants them, you can go to the Mandarins website.
They could email me directly, and I'll make them a deal.
Right. That's right. All right. Should we get to the show?
Well, did you, Justin? I know. Did we finish all of your questions? Because I know, both
so.
you guys, you had a whole list. It was 3, 3, 3, 1, or
We've kind of got off. We've kind of got
7.
off that now.
I didn't know if there was any. Were there any questions that were, just you had a burning desire to get an answer for? I didn't want to take that away from you.
No, you're good. No, I think I was telling Kanan here before. I actually got one of the things. Well, it wasn't really a question. It was more of a statement, kind of like what we're talking about. When I was at your guys' family show in last year.
Okay.
Actually, this is the very first time I've ever been to a family show for anybody. So it was different, because you get to go down and walk on the field, and you get to see like the horns and the percussion and the guard warming up and stuff like that. So I mean, I've been in that. In the inside of it where I was the performer. So it was just kind of cool to kind of walk around and see the different sections. But like what CJ was saying was like, there was a difference because when I saw you guys in 22, I saw you guys at semis and finals. And then when I saw the family show, it was almost like nothing had stopped, like in terms of the air, the confidence, the swagger. It was like, and it was a good swagger. It was like everybody was like, all the performers were, and the students were just kind of like, we're here, and they kind of knew the assignment. You know what I mean? It's like they already knew, and that's kind of like when I marched 1989 freelancers. That was the first year that we had been back in top 12 since 85, right?
Early mid 80s. Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah. So, and there was a confidence that we had, like, and it didn't come until mid-season. I think it came in like Ypsilanti, Michigan, or something like that, or maybe I don't know.
I with all due respect, I disagree with you because that '89 core. Because remember, '88 was close to making the show.
Yeah,
and I think that '89 core, we were simply not going to be denied Saturday night from the very first camp.
Yeah.
It was just assumed.
Interesting. 2 different perspectives on that,
Yeah.
and how you see. But it does. At some point, right? And you both you've experienced it. At some point, it clicks. The switch, the light comes on, and pow, there's a change. And it happens with different corps, different times. So 96 with Phantom Regiment, right? They were having a good year. And then all of a sudden, where the heck was it? Was it Madison at the big regional? And they got rained on. And they kept performing in the show. Coming out of that rainstorm, that torrential rainstorm, they were a different drum corps. Yeah. Something clicked for them. They go, they could have stopped performing in the rain and go boom, boom, boom. But instead, oh my God, they got a whole different confidence level. They went on to win that year. But if you would have looked at it from the beginning of the season, they were going to be good, of course. But I mean, they weren't even in competitive for that top 3, and then all of a sudden there was an event that clicked and made that happen, and they just took off, and it was crazy. So sometimes there's something in early season or mid season where all of a sudden they catch that second wind. It's like a racehorse. You just all of a sudden coming around that last turn, something happens, something clicks. Yeah. I think with us with the Mandarins, Justin, we just had a great winter, and the staff was so comfortable working with each other. They oozed confidence, and the members felt that right off the bat. And so at that family day, it was their chance to show the family what the heck they were doing, and it came off well, and it just built that confidence. And then, Kano, kind of what you're saying, though, it can also be a similar thing. It's like, okay, no, we're not going to be denied. Where does that come from? It can come from within, but there is a catalyst somewhere that lights that fire and then keeps that thing moving.
I think as well, the difference between maybe part of the reason why me and Justin perhaps view that '89 season differently is that Justin, no disrespect, Justin was a rookie that year. I was a third-year veteran,
Okay.
And I'd experienced the I-80 tour in '87. I'd experienced damn near making finals in '88. In '89, I was like, there is no damn way we're not going to make this show. And I think that was the general thought process amongst the veterans of the Corps.
And that's really cool because Justin probably personally, mid-season, he and the other rookies all of a sudden
Picked
broke
up
the
on
code
that.
as to what it was, right?
Yeah.
That light bulb for them, it clicked, and hey, we get that. We understand what we're supposed to be doing. It's
And
not X's and
at
O's
that point,
anymore.
the whole core
Yes, and now
is
everybody's in sync. The rookies now kind of get what the vets have been driving about. They have their own confidence because they're feeling good with what they're doing, and boom, again, now everybody's on the same page. They got that same goal, and that same fire within themselves. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I now that you say that, that's right. Justin was a rookie then. So Kanan, yeah, you're a grizzled old veteran, and you're pissed off. Excuse my language.
Oh, you can cuss on here. Come on.
You can swear it's
This
fine.
is YouTube. There's a lot worse on YouTube than this.
So,
Well,
so let me,
that's
let, me
PG.
let me ask you this. This is something I didn't ask Jason. It's something I'm going to start asking all of our guests. What is, and you can't choose any of your cores or any cores that you were involved with at that time. What's your favorite drum corps show outside of anything that you've ever been involved with? I'll tell you mine. Mine's 92 Crossman.
Okay, that's a good year. That was a good year. Yeah. I'm going to go a little further back.
Right.
Blue Devil 76.
Oh, good show.
Good show.
Channel 1 and all those other things, they had been on the scene. But when they came out with that, we just went, holy smokes. What the heck is that? What are they doing?
Were they all under 21?
Don't know, don't care.
every time I see pictures of drum corps from the 70s,
There's like
I'm
beards.
just thinking there is no way that kid's 21. That there's what is it? I can't remember what year it is. I think it might have been 83. What year was it that Madison did Strawberry Soup? Was it 83?
Oh, is that 83, 84?
They had a
there.
soprano soloist that I'm certain he worked down at the docks, had a mortgage and a wife with 3 kids at home. There was no way that kid was a day under 35. So,
Yeah.
You know what? Not a stress point for me. But yeah, I hate to say it, but since you excluded all of those groups that I've worked with, and since I've worked with so many, it took a whole bunch of shows out of contention.
okay. Take away the exclusion. What's your favorite show of all time, and why?
Santa Clara Vanguard, 1975.
Oh,
And why?
Undeniable, and we were denied.
they were denied a lot. 86, 87, 88.
But 75, and maybe, I don't know, just it was a magical drum corps.
Okay,
We
so
won in
do-
74, but the question I could argue that we probably shouldn't have won in 74. We should have won in 75. And no offense to my friends in Madison, we crushed it. We crushed it all season long, and we crushed it finals night. The drum line was unbelievable. Third of 3 championships in a row. Only lost 1 show in 3 years. That horn line was amazing. The color guard, the design of that show, nothing should have touched it. But obviously, judges felt differently. But that was just an amazing drum corps, amazing people. The drum corps never gave up. Never, ever gave up. And just, they were amazing. And it was a really cool show.
Yeah, it's funny that as well because somebody asked me the other day of all the years that I marched, what was my favorite year, and I actually tell them 87, the year that we came in 19th place. And it's you find that favorite whatever, and there's a reason for it that could just be very specific to you. So what I'm going to ask you as well is we have a feature on this show we call Versus. It's something that we've done a couple of episodes on now. And what we do is we put this in the community section of the YouTube page, where we ask people for some subject matter for us on a show, and what we do is me and Justin debate who should have won.
That sounds dangerous. Okay.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, okay? And we've done 2 of these. So the first one was 89 Phantom or 89 Vanguard.
89 Vanguard, totally.
Yeah, I agree.
I had Phantom, and actually, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Phantom was really
they were
good.
too good.
Phantom was absolutely good. Vanguard had the little extra. They had the magic.
Yeah.
Again, these are my own personal opinions.
Of course,
These
Yes,
are
they
not
are.
anybody's, please. And it's not to take anything away from the
JW
rebels,
Koester of the Mandarins
right?
organization says.
That's right. I mean,
We of course understand this is this is just off the cuff, some
sure,
blokes talk, some
absolutely, I'm
drum
with you.
corps fans talking. So
Sure.
I mean, so from a guy who's been around the activity for a very, very long time.
Did you have to say two varies?
Well, we've been around very, very long time too. So
Okay.
you
Okay,
know,
yeah,
we've been
All
around
right.
since the
yeah,
80s.
we're all very
All right.
so me and Justin have both voiced our opinions on this in the past. Is so when you look at certain cores, like for instance, going back to the '89 or the versus battle that we were talking about, where I had to defend Blue Devil's Fellini S show. Actually, I thought it was pretty absurd when I was looking at the caption scores, seeing perfect scores in a caption. What's your thoughts on a perfect score in a caption? Bearing in mind that this is a subjective judging system.
And it is subjective, but
Is it possible? Is the
is
question I would ask.
is perfection possible? You know, I grapple with that still to this day. You know, because I'm an old tick guy.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, ticks, tick, ticks. And I guess perfection in that moment, I guess it's there. Um, but for me, it's hard. It's hard to take a perfect score, just because of, again, I think because I was, you know, I lived the ticks for so long that, are you telling me there was nothing there? There was
Yeah.
nothing there anyway. But because it isn't a tick, it's a buildup. I can see how you get to a perfect subcaption score.
It's rank
I
and
do.
rate, and you end up getting boxed in by a number.
And, well,
really.
that can be, you know, certainly could, right? You know, unless, I mean, we're going to what, two decimal points now. I guess technically you could probably go to a third, you know, I mean, so where are we at with the, you know, from that standpoint? But yeah, I guess just because I'm so old school, perfection is pretty darn hard to do. But that's the way it is, and if that's what they need to do, also to do the correct rank and rate, you know, to get the right group where they need to be, then sometimes you actually may be there, even if maybe they didn't want to go there. And I don't know, because you know, not in the room when they're doing that. But if that's where they went because that's where they had to go, then that is what it is.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
shall we watch it? Shall we watch a drum corps show?
Sure, always
Let's
up
watch
for a
a drum
drum
corps
corps show.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and watch the show here. Here we go.
Performing their 2023 program.
And Maya is
Center
coming back
Band.
this year, so
From Border Night,
amazing drum major. She's got another year after this with us.
Oh wow.
Did you guys have a lot of age outs last year?
Actually, fewer than the year before, believe it or not. I think we're at 42 last year.
Wow.
Where on earth did you find a mellophone player that could dance like that?
Indianapolis, from Indiana.
Wow. I love the color contrasts.
Yeah, it's just so cool. Such a cool look.
Becca is just so good at that, and working with creative costuming, you know, creative design and costumes, out of Southern California, with especially the color guard costumes, they're amazing. You know, so right off the bat, obviously the single red, you know, establishing we've got contrast, we've got conflict right off the bat, Justin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where you gonna run to?
The sound, man. Live, it's So much better live, but it was
Big
amazing.
sound.
You know, Rick and Brian and the brass staff just really were able to get everything out of the horn line. And I just love Peter's staging. He hits him in the right spot at the right time. You know, another member of the design team, Brian Harmson, he's the one that does a lot of the soundscape, but also the pacing of throughout the whole show. You know, I mean, obviously everybody has their ideas, but he's the one who is driving the direction and the shape. You know, where are we going to be big, loud, how hard we should be pushing, and you know, then Vince and Ben and Andy really do a great job of matching the music to that. So he's a big part of it. You go, well, pacing, what's that mean? But it's huge. It really is that you have to work just as hard to get that pacing right as the actual arrangements themselves.
Musically, this bit here reminds me very much of kind of Cadets almost, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Angels and Demons.
Yeah.
That show. And that was a fantastic show, but like the red and white, kind of, you know, and not that you guys copied them, but it's like that conflict that
Yeah, we're treading dangerous ground. I think you did it better.
But it's what I'm trying to get at is it's super effective when you have the dichotomies there, you know.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, and we wanted to do that. You know, that was a conscious effort. How do we get the red and the white together? And now here, where we're starting to move the whites to one side, the reds on the other. You know, just really making it more obvious. There's conflict here. We're you know, the centerman is fighting within himself. Can't be more blatant than right here.
Oh boy, we're covering up the soloist.
I also appreciate the fact that somebody told the kids how to wear a fedora right as well. Thank you. Got to be slightly cocked.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to have attitude. You know, that swagger, I think, is how you described it, Kanan. But you know, and this is probably my absolute favorite part of the show here. The way the intensity just continues to build. You know, right there, the solo's just in your face. I just said, when I talked before, there's no holding back here. You have to be absolutely blatantly aggressive and stick it in your face. Yeah. And they did it amazingly well. And then just all this chaos. Simply massively chaotic.
White robes flying everywhere. She'd be right where the camera was.
You know, she didn't get the wink like the Blue Coats guy did a couple years ago.
I marched with him, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kids Grove.
Smile.
And let your staff know I appreciate them having the tubas up front, so you can actually hear them.
Okay.
That's one of my pet peeves is when the tubas are like way in the back on a loud chord. It's like even though you're mic'd, it's still, you know. I love having the tubas up front during loud parts.
This part is so cool.
And here's, you know, because this is fun. This is absolutely a fun thing. This is light, you know. Hey, we're not telling you what to think, but musically, we've changed the texture. It's, you know, and then we keep switching, and I thought the audio was captured it really, really well. But there, Justin, how's that? Is that the tubas?
That's
right
perfect. That's perfect. But you get the depth, you know, that low bass sound. When you get it naturally, as opposed to even over a speaker, it's so much better, in my opinion. You know?
Sure.
I love that bass sound with the raw, you know, rawness going on.
Yeah, I think our most underrated section last year really was the percussion. They just, especially the battery, they're so expressive. I mean, there were times in the show you really couldn't see it because they were staged a little bit further back, but most underrated section. Horn line obviously amazing, color guard super strong, but the percussion section was just amazingly expressive throughout the whole show.
Well, I certainly didn't underrate him. I recognized that early on.
Ooh, nice.
Now this part here, when you come into the solos as well. So I was a soloist my age out here, and God forbid I played my solo in tune.
Well, let's see what instruments were you? Let's see. Wait, that was what? 89 was your age out?
And I aged out in 92. I played
I'm sorry,
baritone in 92.
You still on? Well, were you on 2 valve berries or had you gone to 3? Okay.
That year we'd gone to 3. Finally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my favorite ballad right here.
Oh yeah.
There's no peace to the wicked.
Ooh, nice. That was a 6, man. Nice.
I don't know how they do that. So this is Gio. He was our horn sergeant last year, and he's coming back again this year. So I think he's aging out this year, but just an amazing person. Great horn player too, but just a rock. And again, front ensemble, friggin' expressive. I could watch them do that for days.
God, what a beautiful tone.
Yep, that's Caitlin, and she'll be coming back. She'll be out on the field again this summer.
Well, Caitlin, I think you were the most underappreciated soloist of 2023. I'll give you that right now. It's easy to get lost in this.
There's no peace, saith my God, to the wicked.
And it's just, let's go, gang. Amp it up and just, and here it is, right? The cinnamon, if you will, just embracing who he is. Even though it's a different cinnamon, it's the character, right? But it's embracing that's who they are. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that personal expression. And I think it fit the show, right? It was within the character of the show.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when as somebody who has played a solo, the thing is it's a kind of a big deal to stand out in front of your corps and play a solo in front of 25,000 people.
Oh yeah.
It's nerve-wracking.
It is. I had a trio in '93, and that was hard. That was so dang hard. The part was like ridiculously hard.
So again, we're changing the texture here, right, Justin? So this is again dark, but if you will, embracing who the Cinnamon is. So let's have some fun here.
I'll tell you one thing I think that the 2023 Mandarins do is put to bed the argument of whether trombones belong in DCI. They absolutely do.
Hey, it's a brass instrument. I think it adds a great texture for folks who want to use it and how they use it.
Great velocity there visually. Sorry to interrupt you.
We had a lot of debates about whether we should do that retardando there or just keep driving to the end. Because originally, the original ending was actually hard drive all the way to the end. And we had there's some spirited conversations. And That's why we auditioned people and said, "You like roller coasters?" And no offense, but the spinners were having a blast.
Those kids out there, they knew exactly what they just did. They just moved the Mandarins into a completely different zip code.
Under the direction of JW
Competitively,
Koester.
I mean.
From
And they knew it,
Sacramento,
and they knew damn well what
California,
they did. That's
the
awesome.
Mandarins.
Right? Absolutely. They just came off the field just happy. You know, it really wouldn't have mattered what the score or the placement would have been. You know, kind of again, just a magical moment where, whoa, we just did that. Yes, you did just do that, and that made the season successful. The score and the placement, it became that bonus. It was the bonus part of the season, but their just unbridled joy of performing and performing with each other. Yeah, like I said, somebody would have been upset if we would have gone back to 12th or something like that, but I mean, at that moment you could see just the sheer joy of what they had just accomplished. Yeah, Kanan, they absolutely knew what they'd done. there was no doubt. They just threw down one seriously badass show.
And they left nothing out there.
Yes.
Nothing out there.
Yeah.
So, well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for bringing such a cool show to the field, and I can't wait to see what 2024 brings. Like it's just been getting better every year. So yeah.
Well, and we're trying to keep having fun. I mean, you gotta. It has to be fun. Otherwise, why are we doing it? At the end of the day, because at the end of the day, there is only one winner, and if you place everything on being the winner, then you walk away slightly disappointed, right? Because you didn't win if you weren't the winner. So it's got to be more than just the score, just the placement. It is, like I said, it is a competition. So yeah, we're into that, but it's not the only thing. It is everything. It's the relationships, the friends that you have both, met over the years, and that 20 years later, 30 years later, because of what you accomplished back then as people. I met my wife in drum corps. And it had nothing to do with placement or score, and we're together a whole bunch of years later. So the competition is a part of it, but it's not everything, at least not for us. For me and with the Mandarins, it isn't everything. We don't determine the success of our year on that score or that placement. You can't.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Jason Burns from Spirit of Atlanta said to us last week that their measuring stick that they use, and I would imagine it must be something similar to you guys, is that, did we get down the road safe? Were the kids fed? Was everybody looked after? Did the kids have a good time? And do they want to come back?
Right.
That was if you tick those boxes, then you had a good season. And if the kids coming back means that the 2024 you're even a bit better competitively, then that's just a bonus.
Exactly. Absolutely. And yeah, those are big boxes, getting down the road, feeding them, health and wellness, all those other things. And the members, they notice, they pay attention, the year-end surveys that we do, they tell us if we're doing a good job or not. And that's what we try to do, to take into account for what we're trying to do the next year. So can't disagree at all.
Yeah. And I think and like when we marched, I mean, it was a different experience. I would love to march now in the corps now, because I think that it's just different. I mean, I would love to experience what it's like to be in drum corps today, because of the difference, the focus more on health and wellness, the focus on not only producing a great show, but also like the whole picture being one thing. When we marched drum corps, like we marched because we just wanted to go out there and play the hell out of everything, and and just compete and do our thing.
And we like to push starting buses.
Push starting buses, that was a thing.
That was a thing.
We had no electronic devices, except for Walkmans. I would love to be on tour now because I could have my phone, I could have my tablet. I could actually be entertained on
Well,
the bus. You know?
Well, and because the buses have outlets, so they can have their phones on, they can be charging them, and the
Yeah.
buses have internet, and they've got TV, so they can watch movies. I mean, it's a whole different world. And when we all marched, we were cut off from the world. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe occasionally we saw a newspaper headline of something, but there was no social media at all. I mean, so and
Hopefully I get a care package so that I get some cash sent from home.
maybe, right, or maybe the line wasn't too long at the payphone one night, so you could actually, or if heaven forbid you had a calling card, to be able to make that phone call back to the family, or remembering to, right? Or next thing you know, you get the director taps you on the shoulder. How come you haven't called home in 3 weeks? Your mom wants to know if you're still alive. Because we were having fun. We were having fun because we didn't know anything else. We didn't know the rest of the world could have literally exploded, and we wouldn't have known.
The funny thing is, I've done drum corps and I've never experienced a Buc-ee's.
Oh my God, Buc-ee's is the thing. It is absolutely a thing. The drum corps pushes our tour director. When do we get to go to Buc-ee's? What night of the tour? Oh my! And you've got to plan an hour to an hour and a half of being there. Everybody loves Buc-ee's. It's amazing. And it's not just the drum corps. I mean, the drum corps folks, I think it is. But if you go to Buc-ee's any time of the day, 24 hours, 24/7, there are buttloads of people there. It's it's crazy. I mean, they're getting gas because they got 60 pumps, but there are people buying souvenirs, buying food, of which the food's really great. Huge restrooms, probably 20 or 30 stalls each side, so never a line to wait.
I think the closest that we had to Buc-ee's back in our day was Iowa 80 truck stop.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
that's right. World's largest truck stop on 80
Yeah,
in Iowa.
and I remember I really very, very specifically remember this. We stopped at Iowa 80 in 91, I think it was. And I remember sneaking into the truck driver's shower area, and I was able to have a shower in a room by myself. And it was like, it was just lush. It was just lush. It's funny when you think of the little things that were. I actually somehow convinced the lady at the fuel desk that I was a truck driver probably because I hadn't showered for like a week. So
yeah,
and I had a mullet. So
there you go. That's it. You probably looked like a truck driver a little bit.
Mullet, tank top, and hadn't showered for a week. So.
That's the small things, man. That's the first thing I did when I came home from tour every year. I closed the door, locked it, took a shower by myself, and went to the bathroom by myself. That was what I lived for. And I would take an hour shower just sitting there, just like, oh my God.
Right?
Tired of
just to be able to close the door and be alone.
Well, should we start wrapping up then, Justin?
Yeah. We're getting closer to the game, man.
Yeah,
closer to the game.
Oh, by the way, before we wrap up, go on, call your shot. I'll call mine 35-10 Niners.
Niners 34-31.
Ooh,
right.
I'm gonna.
I don't have another 34-31.
I'm gonna say 27-24. I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring game.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see, because I think they both have really good offense and really good defense. So it's going to be really tough to score. But we'll see. We're going to see in a couple hours.
So do you think, is it going to hinge on, let's say, an interception or, something, or a field goal that really, something, not another just long drive, but something crazy?
I hope to Christ it doesn't hinge on a field goal if it's a 49ers. Jesus. Every time he goes to kick, it scares the absolute living bejesus out of me. Even extra points, every extra point goes swings to the right every single time. And I'm like, you swing to the right. Why don't you just kick to the left? So you never miss wide left.
Don't use logic. Come on.
Yeah, you can't.
So
you can't.
So anyway, yeah. So JW, what have you got going on in Mandarins? Any fundraising stuff coming up?
Well,
Anything
yeah.
you want to talk about?
Sure, we got a really cool
The
thing.
floor is yours.
We're celebrating our 61st birthday on March 23rd. We're doing a big spaghetti dinner feed type thing at the Mandarins Hall. I think it starts at 5 o'clock, and I think tickets are on sale. I'm not doing such a good job, but so yeah, we have our anniversary coming up. It's going to be a really fun bash with some videos and people talking and good food, because we don't do bad food. We don't do
Exactly.
bad food. Then we actually have our brass camp this next coming weekend, which is, oh my gosh, I know the date, 16, 17, 18. So Justin, if you're in the area, you're welcome. Kanan, you're
I'd love to
absolutely
come.
welcome, but it might be a little bit longer drive for you.
Bit of a trek.
But
Oh,
then,
I'd love
March is, we don't have any organized activities. I mean, there's no camp. We don't do a camp at all in March. So the next camp really is April. And then a month later, it's spring training move-in. Boom. I mean, once we get to April and we get all of our winter guard and winter percussion people back, then it's pedal down. It's a lot of show music, getting done and put together. So come May 25th for move-ins, it's ready to be taught. I mean, we're going to take a couple of days to catch our breath and get everybody acclimated, and then, all right, teach the show. 2.5 weeks, done. Boom. So, Justin, when you come to our family day again, for all intents and purposes, the show, the basic show is going to be done, right? So we have the drill on the field, we have the music, obviously not all the choreo, but that is an expectation. It's not a hope, it's not a wish. No, we're going to have the show designed and we're going to have it taught. So come 3 weeks in, at Family Day, we got the show. It's on the field.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, well,
It's gonna be a
you're
good
always
time.
welcome. Like I said, actually,
appreciate
both
that.
of you are welcome. And let's see, Kanan, you're going to be coming over the big pond for championships or anything at all, or you're going to stay away from us crazy Yanks?
I'm looking at 20. Well, I am still a crazy Yank, but
Yeah, but you're
I'm
one of
looking at-
them. You're one of them now,
I've still got a big
right, Justin?
passport.
Yep.
Well, it's funny that it's funny you should say that though, because we do have this recurring theme on the program, the British swear word of the show. So last week it was wanker. The week before it was knobhead. And then we did
What is
codswallop
today's?
as well.
Yeah,
I've
what is
thought about
today? We gotta have something.
Yeah, come on.
Knobshite.
I'm sorry,
Knobshite.
shite, knobshite,
Knobshite.
knobshite. And what did I
Knobshite.
just say? What did I call Justin? Justin, you knobshiter.
I'll tell you when we're not recording.
Okay. Well, I have to be careful, right? Because every year the Corps members they teach me a new word.
Well, teach them that one.
Well,
Teach them that one.
well, you have to tell me what it is first. But yeah, so I always have to, and I do have to fact check what they're saying. What?
Yeah.
Okay, you want me to use this word in the context? Okay.
Well, here's
But-
one you can. So listen, here's one you can use, and it's not a swear word at all, but it's just a fun word to say, and that's codswallop.
Cogswallop?
Codswallop.
Cogswallop.
COD. Yeah, codswallop. So
Codswallop.
codswallop used in a sentence. So you're at a rehearsal in somewhere in the middle of hell in Louisiana or whatever, and they just have a bad run, and you just say, "Cut, guys, that was absolute codswallop. Reset." And they won't even be back, so we're trying to figure out what the hell codswallop is.
Cogswallop. Okay, got it. Okay, you're gonna have to send that to me because I'll have to remember it. But
I absolutely
but it
will.
probably would be good in the swamp.
Swamp. Oh man, the South. Oh, I don't miss that at all.
Natchitoches, Louisiana. We could do an entire episode about that place.
Oh yeah, you could. Just that whole state, right? Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and you guys have been there.
Little
You
Rock.
did those swamp tours. Little Rock. Yeah, there's no show in Little Rock this year. I'm not sure
Oh.
what happened there, but
Darn.
we still have to drive through that state.
At least, hey, Kanan, at least you aged out before you had to do 93.
Oh,
that
Jackson,
was
Mississippi must have been awful.
miserable. That was like the worst experience of my life. It was, and people talk about it on Drum Corps Coffee Shop all the time.
Yeah.
90,
It was brutal.
Dude,
I didn't even go.
Oh, it was so
93
bad.
was absolutely brutal.
It was
unreal.
bad. I mean, when you went outside, the air, it looked like fog, but it was humidity. I'm not even kidding. It was like you could see the humidity in the air. It was just unreal. It was bad. It was bad.
Even back then, it was interesting. So I was the director of the Vanguard Cadets, and we stayed at the same housing site as our good friends, the Mandarins. So my association, if you will, with the Mandarins goes way back. So I don't know. Maybe it was preordained.
And as I recall as well, wasn't the stadium kind of pretty much in the hood as well?
Yes.
Yeah, it was not a nice area, but we've had a couple others. Orlando was a little exciting if you ever were there, right?
Yeah,
at the Citrus Bowl, right? Yeah, 96.
Do you remember Legion Field in Birmingham?
Oh my God, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Just scary. Especially where we were. I was with the South San Francisco Conquistadors, a very small, bad, Division III level corps, and yeah, we were in Nastyville. They literally, the custodians would lock us in at night and put chains on the doors because they didn't want anybody breaking in to get us.
So probably
something favorite, you didn't want to know.
my favorite bad memory or bad area drum corps story was, again, going back to my rookie year, 87, corps full of rookies. I think the average age of the freelancers that year was just barely over 16. We were young. I mean, we were proper young. I think we had 4 age outs in 87. That was it. In fact, when Vanguard cadets finished their season, we picked up most of the horn line, came over to freelancers. We picked up a bunch from Vanguard cadets, from Arizona Sun, from Musketeers. Basically, the way that we filled our horn line back then was we just waited for one of the Division II Corps seasons to end and just nabbed as many players as we could. But no, we didn't do 10 to 10s like we normally did at Sac State that year. So what we did was the Corps actually got on buses and we drove down to LA, and we stayed for 2 weeks in one school in LA. And what they didn't tell us, or what I didn't understand at the time, is that school was in the middle of South Central LA. And it's 1987, so we're talking like the height of the gang wars in LA. And we were literally told, you do not leave the school ever. None of us understood why. We were just young kids, all from Northern California. So, yeah, it's quite funny. I look back now and I'm thinking, wow, we actually survived that season. So nobody got shot. So it's a good season.
Nobody knew any better. We didn't have social media telling us that we shouldn't, that you're going to die. We didn't have any social media.
But what I was going to say, though, is I'll leave you with this, is thankfully, that's not a metric you have to have anymore as to whether it's a successful tour. Did anybody get shot? No. Good season. So
that's certainly one way of looking at it.
JW, thank you very much. So to answer your question from earlier, no, I'm not going to be able to get over there this year, but I am genuinely looking at 2025. So if I do get over for 2025, I'll make it a point to come find you guys in the car park and introduce myself and shake your hand properly.
Love to have you come by, and we'll feed you some food, and you'll love it.
Thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll definitely be out at the family day for sure.
Okay.
Just to see what's going on,
Fantastic.
Spaghetti.
What was that?
Go eat some spaghetti.
Okay, I'll go eat some spaghetti.
But thank you too, both of you. Had a great time with you. Oh boy, you brought up some old memories, good memories, and the generations. We're really of the same generation, so we know a lot of the same people, the same stories, and it was a blast. I had a great time with the two of you, and I really appreciate the invite.
Something I'd like to do, if it's all right, is just, if you'd consider it, is maybe some point during the season, not as long, mind you, just a few minutes. Maybe we could check in with you at some point during the season.
I'd love to do that. That'd be a blast.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. How's things going? So thank you very much, JW. I really genuinely appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, Niners, and we'll talk to you down the road. How's that?
All right, sounds
absolutely.
good.
Take care.
Okay, well, that's the end of part 2, and we want to thank JW Koester for coming on this show. giving us a lot of insight into his experiences with other cores, the Mandarins, and we got a little bit about what's going to happen in 2024, but not a lot. That's okay. We're going to see that when we get to the family day, kind of like.
And we'll check in with JW during the season a bit as well, which I think will be pretty cool. Find out how things are going while the core's out on the road.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So if you haven't supported your favorite drum corps, please do that, because this is a time when they're starting to gear up. They need that that boost. So go to their page, see what you can do. If you can volunteer. If you can buy merch. If you can go to fundraisers, go to fundraisers like the one we just talked about with the Mandarins. And I will put a link to their page in the description so that you can go to their website, see what's happening, keep up with the events of the Mandarins. All right. Well, that was an exciting time with JW. I can't wait until we talk again. But until then, you guys know what to do. You got to subscribe. That way you get notified when we have cool videos. We have a lot more coming up in the next weeks, next months coming forward. So make sure you stay in touch with everything March or Die. Not only with the podcast, but also content that we're putting up besides the podcast, so that you guys keep informed of what's going on. All right.
We are also lining up some more guests for the pod as well. It's not going to be an every week thing. I think realistically we're looking probably try to get a guest on maybe once a month, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But I'm basically email bombing everybody at the moment, and seeing who comes back to me. But we do have one or two that are definitely looking to come on in the next few weeks. So once we have some confirmation on those, we'll let you know who they are and all that. So,
all right.
So before we sign off, go Niners.
Go Niners. Right. It's going to start in a couple hours. Can't wait. We're going to see how they do. So hopefully we'll come out ahead in this victoriously winning the Super Bowl in how many years has it been?
99.
Oh, wow. That's a long time. All right. Well, go Niners. We'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, you know
march
exactly
on.
what to do. Yeah, you got to march on.
Just march on. Just march on.
Just keep marching. March. We're out.